Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished guests and visitors and people that have a particular interest. Indeed, everyone that's here, I'm sure, has a particular interest in this, the prevention of flooding. And indeed, many of the people here have played an important positive role in that area in recent times. And it's good to be here in the Hudson Bay with Shane and Gerard, and to thank them for the invitation to formally launch their Global Flood Solutions new product, the Big Bag flood system, flood defence system. And I am conscious of the amount of people that are here, and as I said, people who played a part. And I think that it would be remiss of me if I didn't compliment those who did play such an important part in this region during the recent flooding, and the manpower and the effort and the commitment of people in our local authority systems, in the defence forces in particular here in this area, who played an enormous role. I want to compliment them and the hours that they put in. Our fire services, the statutory bodies, civil defence, and indeed many voluntary organisations, all of them played an important part in trying to protect the homes and villages, and indeed to help out. And today, I think, is a very important day for this region, insofar as that Shane and Gerard have decided to launch their product here in this area. And we are the area that the cameras come from the national television stations to photograph every time there's a flood or every time there are problems. And over the years, I'm sure there are many people in this room who have witnessed RTE and others come down and flying in helicopters and whatever and take pictures, and we see them on the national television, and then we don't see them again until there's another flood. We've seen that too often. But on this occasion, on the last occasion, it really brought home to people how difficult it really was, because I'm told by people in the Finneran area that the flood on this occasion was, I think, to 15 inches higher than ever experienced before. And I think Pigeon Morton has stated there about an extra block on a house or whatever gives it in some type of measurement of what really was involved. Whilst the government and others have responsibility in particular areas, I think this immediate proposal and product that's been acknowledged here, or that's been launched here today, is very important. Brendan Kelly, of course, has brought home to us the absolute, if you might call it, waste of money in some ways that may not necessarily have to have been spent, of 244 million euros. That's a colossal amount of money to have paid out in insurance products. And in many cases, I have no doubt that this system would have protected housing estates, it would have protected houses, it would have protected villages, it would have protected small road networks, and in fact it may have been in a position to protect some major flooding. And I have no doubt that the amount of people who are here from the engineering sections and others will take great interest indeed. What are the capabilities of this particular product? And I just want to put a few points on the record here. The need to improve our flood defences on a nationwide basis is a topic that's engaged most of us, some more than others, as recent as last November, as I've said. While the particular story may have moved from the headlines, we must remember the occupants of many homes and businesses, both public and private, which were severely affected by flooding last winter. And it may have gone away from the headlines, but it's still an issue that has to be kept to the fore here in this particular area. It's no exaggeration to say that those people in question of what to do about flooding, it will remain with them for a long time. And I think global flood solutions are to be congratulated on this initiative, which will assist in reducing the effects of flooding, especially the speed in which the system can be installed at any location which is threatened by rising flood waters. While the government plans for the larger and longer term solutions to flooding, products such as the Big Bag system will help with short term solutions. And of course that's the important matter. And Ulrich didn't say to you there, and I welcome him to this country here today, the founder of the system, that at this particular time that the American government are looking at a 45-mile stretch to protect the beaches in the Caribbean. A 45-mile stretch to use this system. and negotiations are on this particular time, which he mightn't have told you about, that he just mentioned briefly. But that just goes to show the importance of this particular product and how it can be used. Of course, in the long term, the government have its own responsibilities to the Office of Public Works, and that will work with the local authorities and state agencies to look at what can be done on a long-term basis. And we have the management systems that are being assessed at the moment, and the flood risk in many areas. In Cork is the first one that's done. Shannon is now next to be done here, and it's important that we do have that type of information available, and that's work that can go on at this particular time as well. The government itself, in recent times here in this area, we gave almost 900,000 to Roscommon the other day to deal with 2 rivers in particular, maybe 3, Roscommon town. On the Jiggy River at League, which was flooded through Main Street. I saw Martin Connacht come down the boat in there when the flood was up, and the village of Ballintubber, and of course up in Drum, where people couldn't pass through under the flat bridge there. Also, we have studies carried out in about another 7 or 8 locations, hopefully where work can be carried out in the future. Indeed, during the period, my own department, even though I don't have direct responsibility for flood relief, out of my own budget I allocated 16 million to flood relief, and indeed here in this area 2 million of it went to the local authorities. But I do have a responsibility insofar as I consider that the infrastructures that we have, whether they be the water systems or sewerage systems or whatever, it's very important that in time of floods that they are protected. And I can see, you know, I'm not an engineer by profession, but I can readily see how this system could easily protect a water source or a sewage source or whatever, and not allowed to get for flood water to mix in there and indeed cause untold trouble down the road. So I see opportunities here, and I have no doubt that the engineering side of our local authorities will indeed see a use for this particular system. Somebody has mentioned already about climate change, of course, and I suppose we can expect that that's what's going to happen, that we're going to have higher floods, and that we're going to have more rainfall, and that we have to get ready for it. And now is the time in the cold light of day and then the dry summer for us to be contemplating and seeing what can be done. And I certainly see an opportunity here for regional or maybe local depots for such a system. They can be readily and easily moved at short notice into an area where flood is threatened. And I know myself that in some situations a string of those bags across the road would have prevented a village from being flooded, would have prevented a housing estate from being flooded. So it's very important that we look at the areas of where, and that there's an analysis done, there's an investigation done, there's an assessment done to see where this can be fitted into a particular location, to say this is where the point of where the flood is coming in from, and that we address it at that particular point and protect the homes of people. I'm advised that the system has won International Intervention Award in Geneva and 3 gold medals for innovative excellence in 3 categories at the INPEX show in Pittsburgh, USA. I have no doubt that many local authorities will be interested in the system to complement their range of options in responding to the threat of flooding in particular. I consider that all critical infrastructure, and I've said this, such as waterworks, should be protected to the maximum extent. After all, there's massive investment in many of these systems, and it's very important that we protect that infrastructure. And if such a system as the big bag system can be used effectively, then of course it's very important that we do that. In conclusion, I don't want to hold up you, I know you have other things to do today. In conclusion, I want to wish Global Flood Solutions all the best with their sales of the big bag flood defence system. And in due course, we will very well see a manufacturing facility being developed in County Roscommon to provide jobs. And that's important as well. So it just leaves me to formally launch the big bag flood defence system, and to wish Shane and Gerard every success with it. And I have no doubt that this is something that's going to take the interest, and it's going to take time and place on our local authorities' claws right around this region. And I have no doubt that in the end of the day, local authorities and other statutory bodies will find this solution a solution to be practical and one that can be implemented on a quick basis to address flooding and protect people and villages and housing estates and other. And I wish you well and thank you for the invitation.